Today, I want to share 10 brutally honest truths that I wish somebody had told me before I had the surgery. If you're new here, my name is Megan, and I had gastric sleeve surgery about 4.5 years ago. Whether you're thinking about getting gastric sleeve surgery, you're in that weird pre-op limbo, or if you're already post-op and wondering, is this normal? Then this video is for you. So let's get into it, starting with truth number 1. The mental hunger does not go away. One of the biggest myths that people believe about going into gastric sleeve surgery is that you'll just stop feeling hungry. And yes, physically in the beginning, that is true. Your stomach is still healing, you're eating super tiny portions, and the thought of food is still pretty overwhelming at that point. But the truth that nobody talks about is that the mental hunger doesn't go anywhere. When I found myself wanting food again, it kind of took me by surprise because it didn't happen when I was actually hungry. It would happen if I was bored or stressed or having a little celebration, and I still had that emotional connection to food. Having the sleeve didn't remove my coping mechanisms with eating food. It just made it a lot harder to act on. There have definitely been moments where I've caught myself walking into the kitchen out of habit, and not because I needed to eat, but because I wanted to eat. And there were a lot of times it got frustrating because I couldn't eat the way that I used to. And this is something that a lot of people don't prepare you for. You can feel full and still crave food, but that craving is all in your head and not in your stomach. So if you're thinking about having surgery, or if you're still early on in your journey, I'd really encourage you to start noticing your hunger cues now. Stop and ask yourself, am I actually hungry, or is this just a habit? Because the sleeve changes your stomach, but it does not rewire your brain. Truth number 2, you might grieve food, but it's totally normal. Before I had surgery, food was a constant in my life. I was always either eating, thinking about eating, planning what I was gonna eat next, or drinking soda, and a lot of times it happened all at the same time. And it wasn't just when I was celebrating or on holidays, it was every single day. I was just constantly eating, even if I wasn't hungry. So when I had surgery and I couldn't do that anymore, it felt like something was ripped away. And even if I wanted to eat the way that I did before, I physically could not. And as weird as it sounds, there were a lot of times that I grieved that. I missed being able to eat constantly without having limits. It was more about the feeling of losing a coping mechanism that I had. So if you're struggling with that same sadness, just know this: you're not alone and you're not weird. Truth number 3, people are going to comment on your body a lot. Let me just say this: once the weight starts coming off, people are going to notice. And for some reason, they just think they have permission to talk about your body. And you're gonna get some really good compliments that do make you feel really good and proud of yourself. They'll say things like, wow, you look so incredible. Oh, you look so good. Oh, you're getting too skinny. Oh, you don't look so sick anymore. And then it starts getting really weird. And they might mean well, but sometimes it gets a little hurtful. I remember thinking, like, were people paying that much attention to me before I had surgery? And the answer is probably yes, they just didn't ever say it out loud. But even the well-meaning people can say things that they think are compliments, but it really just rubs you the wrong way. But here is what I've learned. People's comments say more about them than they do about you. Sometimes they're just jealous, sometimes they might be genuinely concerned, and sometimes they're just projecting their own thoughts about themselves onto you. But you are not responsible for how your body makes them feel. So take the compliments if they feel good, and set boundaries if they don't. Truth number 4, loose skin is real, and no, it's not just a you problem. Yes, you're going to have loose skin after surgery. And no, it's not because you did anything wrong. When I started losing weight, I kept thinking maybe if I drink more water or buy a bunch of expensive firming creams or start lifting weights, I can prevent it. But spoiler alert, loose skin is not really something that you can prevent with weight loss surgery. It won't happen to everybody, but it will happen to most people. There's a lot of factors that goes into it, like how long did you carry that weight, your genetics, your age, and a whole bunch of other stuff that you can't really control. But it's also a sign of progress. Like, I have this loose skin because I wanted to do better things for my health, and I did. So if you're looking for more information on loose skin, I actually do have a full video on it. But at the end of the day, loose skin is all part of the package. It's gonna happen, but it is still so worth it. Truth number 5. Hair loss happens, but it might not always be exactly what you would expect. Hair loss does actually get talked about a lot, but for me, my hair loss experience wasn't super dramatic. I didn't really have like big clumps of hair fall out, and I didn't go bald anywhere, but I started noticing all of these tiny little baby hairs that were popping up all over my head. And at first I thought it was just my hair breaking, but nope, it was new growth. And suddenly I had all of these fuzzy wild flyaways that I couldn't do anything about. But the good news is that it does grow back. It just might take a little bit of patience. Truth number 6. The honeymoon phase doesn't last forever, and that's when it gets real. In the beginning, the weight just falls right off. It's really motivating, and honestly, it feels really exciting. The scale keeps dropping, people start noticing, and you're like, finally something is happening for me. But the truth is that honeymoon phase does eventually end. That's when your weight loss slows down, your stomach might stretch back out just a little bit, and your hunger starts creeping back in again. It does become your new normal, and while it's definitely still exciting to know how much progress you made, eventually it just kind of starts to lose its sparkle because it's normal now. And I had to be more intentional with how I was eating, what I was eating, and why I was eating. Because up until that point, it kind of feels like the surgery is doing all of the heavy lifting work for you. But the long-term success, that's on you. And that's not me trying to scare you. That plateau is not failure. It's just your body getting used to its new normal. And from here, your habits matter more than ever. So definitely enjoy that honeymoon phase as long as you can, but don't rely on it to carry you forever. That is when the lifestyle part really kicks in. Truth number 7 is you're gonna need new coping mechanisms because food is not there for you anymore. Before surgery, food is how I coped with everything. It was what made me feel good, and it's what was literally killing me. And believe it or not, I didn't realize how much I was eating and how deeply I relied on that until I physically couldn't do it anymore. After surgery, if I had a rough day, in my mind, I just want to reach for food out of habit. I used to eat like that, but I couldn't anymore. So I was just left sitting with all of these emotions that I had spent years numbing with food. I had to actually deal with my emotions and my feelings. And let me tell you, I really didn't love that at first, but it forced me to try new things. I already loved gaming before, but I went even harder into gaming. My husband and I started building model train sets together, and I got really into drawing and digital art, which I had never done before. So I had all these other things to do instead of eating. I definitely still have days that I want to go back to my old habits, but now I know that I have other things that I can do instead of just eating. So if you're heading into surgery, I would start right now. Look at what it is that makes you go for food and start building your coping toolbox early. Because once food is no longer your emotional crutch, you're gonna need something else to lean on. Truth number 8. Vitamins are for life, and skipping them will catch up to you. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I was not very consistent with taking my vitamins. I knew that I was supposed to, but a lot of times I would forget or I'd run out. I started feeling tired all the time. Every time I would stand up, the whole room would spin because I was so lightheaded. I felt like I was in a constant fog. I just wasn't myself anymore. And that was my wake-up call. After surgery, those aren't just casual supplements. Your body literally can't get what it needs from food alone anymore. And if you don't give your body what it needs, you start to break down, and it happens a lot faster than you'd think. So if you're in those early stages and you're thinking, oh, it'll be fine if I just skip 1 or 2 days, just listen to me when I say it adds up. Your energy and your hair and your brain, your entire life will thank you for it. Truth number 9. Yes, you can definitely out-eat your stomach. This one stings a little bit because it's something that I thought would never happen to me, but it did. Over time, you can out-eat your sleeve, and if you're not careful, it will sneak up on you. In the first few months, it feels like that is literally impossible. You can only take a few tiny little bites, you measure everything, and you get full so fast. But as the months go on, you tolerate more. You start drinking a little bit closer to your meals, you start chewing a little faster than you did before, and before you know it, you start eating more than you thought you could. You can finish an entire meal again. You start snacking more, and it feels like your tool just stopped working. But the hard truth is, getting gastric sleeve surgery is not magic. It's just a tool. It only works if you use it as it was designed. Yes, your stomach stomach will stretch over time, and that's completely normal. But how much it stretches depends on what and how you eat. I definitely went through phases that I slipped. I stopped measuring food, and I stopped checking in with my hunger, almost like I was falling right back into the old habits that I had before I had surgery. But the good news is you can always rein it back in. The sleeve is still there. It still helps, but it's completely up to you to listen to it. You just have to go back to the basics. You've done it before, you can do it again. Truth number 10. It's still 80% mental. Weight loss surgery changes your stomach, it does not change your mind. It gives you a very strong and helpful tool, but that tool does not fix your relationship with food or fix your self-esteem or erase years and years of emotional eating habits. I thought that once the weight started coming off that I would feel super confident all the time and that would fix all of my emotional problems too. But I eventually did have to come face to face with my own self-esteem after surgery. Like, why did I even overeat in the first place? There have been so many days that I've been perfectly on plan, doing everything exactly right, and there were days that I emotionally ate again, even though I physically couldn't eat that much. Long-term success with this surgery isn't just willpower. It's so important to know about yourself and why you respond to different emotions the way that you do. The surgery is a tool, but you are the work, and I promise you, you are worth what you're doing that work for. If you're on this journey too, or if you're just now thinking about starting it, I hope that these truths help you feel a little bit more prepared. And if you're wondering about the recovery process after having surgery, this video right here talks about my recovery process. So don't forget to hit subscribe if you want more content about gastric sleeve surgery like this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!